This is great news for the Pittsburgh Steelers as we have multiple huge updates to go over today, specifically surrounding a couple of key players that changes everything as we approach the game on Sunday. But not only that, we do have an update surrounding Aaron Rodgers. It has fans split. A ton to go over on this episode, folks. But before we get into it all, quick reminder, hit that subscribe button. If you're a part of the percentage who aren't subscribed to the channel, this is the place to be for daily Steelers content. Folks, a lot to go over, and obviously Sunday is a huge game. Each game at this point is absolutely massive and really monumental in them solidifying their playoff spot, which is the easiest to do by winning the division. We have a ton of updates to go over today, and let's start with this here. You can see here, Steelers get good news on two injured stars. The Pittsburgh Steelers can get a huge boost on both sides of the football, and of course, this is talking about a couple of players. This update isn't about Aaron Rodgers, but it is about Jaylen Warren and Alex Highsmith, with Highsmith being the bigger piece of news here. So as the Pittsburgh Steelers close in on their Week 12 game against the Bears, two of their injured starters return to practice after not participating in the first session of the week. So this is good news. And if you're watching my videos, I've been covering how, of course, one of the biggest questions now at this point is Aaron Rodgers. But beyond that, it is Alex Highsmith. Now, Jaylen Warren came out and said he could have returned last week, so we assumed he was going to be good, although they were limiting him at practice. But outside linebacker Alex Highsmith were both listed as limited participants on the second injury report of the week, which bodes well for their chances of suiting up at Soldier Field. And I think at this point, there's a good chance that Alex Highsmith is available on Sunday, but the bigger piece of news here is that he should be good to go for hopefully the rest of the year. And also Jaylen Warren, who was left the game with an ankle injury. Of course, Kenneth Gainwell got the job done in last week's game, but this is very, very good news. And obviously for Alex Highsmith, this is a guy who, yes, he was replaced by Nick Herbig, who at that point did really, really well. And he, of course, he had a decent game, and obviously some fans want Nick over Alex Highsmith, but at the end of the day, it's let me know down below in the comments who you prefer, but getting Highsmith back is absolutely critical, right? Having him back to the team, and again, he's had a decent year. He's obviously potentially going to be a trade option in the offseason, but I don't want to talk about any of that right now. I want to talk about getting the team healthy, and for this team to have their best opportunity of making a deep run, having Alex Highsmith back is good. And then surrounding the running back room, not the wide receiving room, Mike Tomlin did say that he's optimistic during his press conference about about Jaylen Warren, and he will be back, we assume. But per ESPN, Dan Graziano, the Steelers are expected to keep Kenneth Gainwell involved in the offense at an even increased rate, even if Warren plays, as expected after a standout performance. So even if, and we assume at this point all signs point to it, Jaylen Warren playing on Sunday, they're going to give Kenneth Gainwell a ton of snaps and a ton of run opportunities, right? Because he did fantastic last week, mainly in the receiving game, but with Mason Rudolph having to come in at halftime, he was someone that clearly Mason Rudolph was comfortable giving the ball to. He absolutely tore apart the Bengals defense. At the same time, the Bears defense is much better than the Bengals defense. Like, the Bengals are the worst in football. They miss a ton of tackles, so it obviously inflated his numbers a little bit. But at the end of the day, you can see here, they do think there's a good chance that they're going to be starting running back Jaylen Warren. But the coaching staff was extremely happy with Kenneth Gainwell, and I expect he will have a significant role. And with Warren on the mend, Gainwell posted a career-high 81 receiving yards, 24 yards on the ground, and Warren remains Pittsburgh's unquestioned starter at the position. I'm not saying that they're going to go ahead, and the report isn't either, and they're going to go ahead and start Kenneth Gainwell. That would be a little bit, wild. But Gainwell's gotten better and better. You can see here, after posting 132 yards across 43 carries through week 3, he has now gone for 404 yards on 80 attempts between weeks 6 and 11. And the team has a very good duo there between Warren, between Kenneth Gainwell, and Gainwell, of course, stepped up last week. So let me know down below what your guys' thoughts are on this, and of course the bigger deal with Alex Highsmith, though I know a lot of fans, again, it's not about necessarily trading him, at least obviously you're not trading him now, but I'm curious to see what they're going to do with Herbig, because at the end of the day here, he looked really solid. Didn't look amazing, but he looked very solid, and I think he is probably one of our outside linebackers of the future there. Some other devastating kind of injury news here is surrounding All-Pro Cam Heyward. So he was allegedly seen in a walking boot today and didn't practice this week. Great Steelers insider Nick Farabaugh says Rodgers is more likely to play Sunday than Heyward. So we'll have another video covering this tomorrow probably, but you can see here from Nick Farabaugh, he's saying it's very likely that Aaron Rodgers plays, but Cam Heyward wasn't a boot in the locker room, but they don't really have any more information behind that. So keep an eye out for a video on that. I assume it's doubtful at this point that Cam Heyward's going to be able to play, which obviously isn't great news, though they're getting a lot of guys back. And at practice today, Mike Tomlin revealed that Aaron Rodgers was a partial participant in practice and will be listed, he's officially listed rather, as questionable to play on Sunday against the Bears. And this is where I want you guys to leave a comment once again. Do you want the Steelers to start? Let's assume they're both healthy. Mason Rudolph or Aaron Rodgers? And it seems like a bit of a crazy question. We know what Mike Tomlin's going to do. They're going to start Aaron Rodgers if he's healthy, right? But if he is even 80%, 70%, obviously he made some comments yesterday, Aaron Rodgers that is, talking about how it's probably easier for him to receive the ball in shotgun formation compared to under center through a handoff from the center. And either one, right? Neither of them are going to be easy. It is his left wrist. So if he's struggling to grip the ball, that makes the decision a little bit easier. Now you can see here, we saw Aaron Rodgers at practice continuing to work today, and Jaylen Warren was back out there again on Friday like he was yesterday. So very good news. Just overall, it seems that Rodgers is going to play. Beyond Rodgers, it seems like Jaylen Warren's going to play. Alex Highsmith's going to play. And obviously, again, it's a pretty big report here from Nick Farabaugh saying that he thinks it's very likely that Rodgers does play, even though, the question then turns to, how will he be? Because the status right now, according to Tomlin, is, quote, we'll see where the weekend leads us, end quote. So not a great quote there. I assume they don't want to give too much information to the Bears either way, but the fact that he was at practice, he is officially questionable, not doubtful. I would lean towards him playing. But some other news, which is great news for the Steelers, is the Bears will be without all three of their top inside linebackers on Sunday. Jalen Johnson, Kyler Gordon, two starting cornerbacks that missed time, both logged full practices today and are questionable. And then, of course, they have a couple of other guys who are also questionable. So it's going to be notable to see if their secondary plays, their two starting cornerbacks, but also they're going to be without a lot of their inside linebackers. So this is an opportunity here for the Steelers. Now, the Bears are getting healthier in some regards, less healthy in the others. Obviously, we know Terrell Austin yesterday came out and said, essentially, that they're going to throw, like they have the past 3 weeks, different sets, different defensive plays and actions on Caleb Williams. But at the same time, you have to understand that, or we have to understand as fans, that the Bears are a much better team. They're 7-3, a much better team than the Bengals were. So seeing if the defense can continue that, whether that be TJ Watt, whether that be, all of their guys, they're going to have to step up there. And especially with the secondary, with Darius Slay coming back. Terrell Austin said they want to get, obviously, James Pierre involved still, Joey Porter Jr. Doesn't seem like Asante Samuel or Marquez Valdez-Scantling is going to get involved, which the MVS thing is interesting to me because their secondary receivers outside of Metcalf haven't done much. But at the same time, with Isaac Samalo back and all these different guys, they've been running the jumbo set more, and Darnell Washington's been elite. So a lot of questions. And in case you missed the video yesterday, Rodgers confirmed that it is a safety thing and talking about how he's going to leave it up to his coach whether or not he plays, and that there is no extra incentive for the Bears, of course, with everything he said to them over his career. But it's going to be interesting. Again, the game preview picks, most people, 7 out of the 10 analysts, have the Bears winning by a very small margin, by one score essentially, besides G. Gordon. So leave your predictions down below in the comment section. The Bears are good, but also the Steelers are good. And hopefully they can take care of business, get DK Metcalf back involved, and also let Darnell Washington throw his body around some more. But that'll wrap it up. Thank you guys for watching. See you later.